Good morning, everyone. I trust that everyone is having a good morning. I am making the adjustment coming from sunny Florida to the weather, so I'm still adjusting, so just bear with me. But again, my objective today is to not just inspire, but to encourage and to empower. I am truly thankful for the opportunity to share with you today here at AT&T a portion of my journey, as well as the no barriers mindset. And that mindset was very transformational to me. And that mindset is what's within you is stronger than what's in your way. I'd like to share a little bit more about myself before I go into my journey. I served 13 years as a cryptologist in the Navy, but in addition to being a mother, I'm also a grandmother, an entrepreneur, a freelance writer, a mentor, and a veteran liaison for Soldiers to Summits, as well as an advocate. I advocate for issues such as homelessness among veterans, post-traumatic stress disorder, and military sexual trauma survivors, of which I am a survivor of all of the aforementioned. Due to complications from the post-traumatic stress disorder, I endured being homeless for a period of about 6 months. Statistics indicate that 22 veterans a day are committing suicide after providing service to their country. I was days away from becoming one of those statistics. So let me tell you a little bit about my journey. I joined the military for 2 reasons. First and foremost, I've always had a heart and a desire to serve my country and to be a part of something much larger than myself. And what better way for me to be able to provide service to the community other than to serve my country? The second reason is that I wanted to escape a very dysfunctional and a very disturbing past, a past that no child should be forced to endure. So my service to the military, I served in Goleta Island, Panama, Pyeongtaek, Korea. I served aboard the USS Kennedy, which is a carrier that housed about 5,000 service members. I also served aboard the USS Spruance, which carried a crew of about 365 crew members. I didn't know how to overcome the loss of the sense of camaraderie that I experienced during my military service. After serving my country, I came home exchanging my uniform for life as a civilian, ready and willing to continue serving within my community. However, it wasn't as easy as I imagined that it would be. 10 years out, and I was still seeking. I was still searching to find that place that I fit. I was still searching to find my niche. I was still suppressing the trauma that I endured both prior to and during my military service. Memories that were going through my mind every day like a movie reel. I didn't know how to overcome the loss of the sense of camaraderie that I experienced during my military service, in spite of the trauma that I endured. How did I learn to function again in society after being away for so long, serving my country for 13 years? And how did I handle the fears that I was encountering, both real and imagined, that were going on inside of me? And how did I explain to my loved ones the pain and the isolation that I felt? Because I was a very different person when I came home than I was when I left. So I began wearing a mask to hide from the world, and especially those closest to me, the shell of a person that I had become. When I looked at myself in the mirror, I didn't even recognize the stranger that I saw looking back at me. Where was that happy, vibrant, loving, caring, giving woman? How did I find her to restore what had been lost? I'd lost my spontaneity. I'd lost my joy for life. I lost my peace. I lost my ability to believe that I could achieve my dreams. But most importantly, I had lost my sense of self-worth. Self-worth. I realized that at that point, I needed help. I was desperate. So I thought about going to counseling. But due to that stigma that's attached to that word mental illness, I absolutely dreaded going to that area in the VA hospital labeled mental health because I felt like I was branded by that word. But I was so desperate that I did eventually go to counseling. I sought counseling. And I took the prescribed medications that they provided. But after a while, I started seeking something else in addition to that. And that was how I came across No Barriers USA and their Soldiers to Summits program. I was introduced to No Barriers by a fellow veteran and a former colleague of mine, Sarah Actopy. And I call Sarah Actopy, she is my angel here on earth. She is my Shiro. Because Sarah saw beneath the mask that I was presenting to the world and saw that I was really struggling. Because at that point, I was days away from ending my life. And this has been maybe a little over a year, almost 2 years ago. I had just lost my home, my car, my position at work, the support of my family because they didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand. And I'd lost a very significant relationship. So at that point, I didn't feel that I had any other reason to live or to continue to live. I'd lost hope. So when Sarah began sharing with me her experience with Soldiers to Summits and her experience with No Barriers, it resonated within me. And for the first time in quite a while, for as long as I can remember, I was actually excited about something. So she told me to apply for this program, this 2013 Peruvian Andes Expedition Capstone. Now, I have no prior mountaineering experience, no prior hiking experience, but I was in a place where I was desperate to find a reason to continue to want to live. So I applied, not thinking that I would be chosen, because it was a worldwide pool of applicants that they were selecting the participants from. 12 participants total, 10 male and 2 female. So when I received a phone call informing me that I had been selected, the best way that I can describe it is I felt that I was being thrown a lifeline as I was going down for the last time. And so what has No Barriers done for me? The struggles that I've encountered dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, secondary to military sexual trauma, and other health-related issues since leaving the military has made me more determined to want to help others that are transitioning after me. I wanted to be a part of the solution within our surrounding communities, helping to bridge the gap, helping veterans with issues such as homelessness, unemployment, and mental health issues, because there's such a stigma that's attached to that. And we as veterans, we feel like we've served our country, we're strong. We don't want to admit that we're having some issues. And so I wanted to do what I could to minimize and eliminate the fears that many of our veterans face when they think about life after the military. I have to share with you a story about one of my experiences on this expedition, on that first expedition. There was a fellow service member by the name of Zach Gibbons. He was a platoon sergeant, and he'd gone over and done a tour in Afghanistan, him and his entire troops. He was the only survivor in an attack that they encountered. So when he came back, his struggle was that he didn't want to lead. He didn't want to have anyone to depend on him. And my struggle was, again, to trust members of the opposite sex, especially fellow service members. So as we're making our trek up to Mount Ajax, our summit attempt during our training period in Colorado. We were attempting to summit at about 13,000 feet. And I am gravely a fear of heights. And so I was determined to make it to the top, and make it to the top we did. We summited. And I have been known to be a little bit clumsy. People kind of know me for that. I have a tendency to trip over nothing. And so as we were making our trek, our way back down the mountain, I slipped and fell a little ways. And so rather than getting up and continuing to walk or trek my way down, I decided I was going to scoot the rest of the way back down on my bottom. And so Zach comes over to me, and he extends his arm, and without hesitation, I grabbed it. And he said to me, just take my arm, I'm going to help you down. And he blocked my feet for the rest of the way down the mountain so that I wouldn't slide. And that's how we made it back down. Well, at the end of that training period, we each had to present one another with the No Barriers flag that had the logo, "What's within you is stronger than what's in your way." But we didn't just have to present each other with a flag. We had to tell that member why we were presenting them with that flag. And so I'm holding my flag and I'm looking around at my other service members, trying to decide who I'm going to give this flag to, because we all had challenges, whether they were from TBI, from PTSD, from physical injuries. I didn't know who to give it to because we had members, 2 of our members were blind. One of them had severe issues with one of their limbs, and we all summited. So as I'm looking around, I locked eyes with Zach, and I just had that deer in the headlight look because he started walking towards me with his flag, and tears were in his eyes, and they were streaming down his face. And I'm very sentimental. I cannot see a grown man cry and not cry myself. That's just part of being a woman, I say. I'm very emotional. So I'm standing here, and I'm like, oh, what is he about to say? And as he's walking towards me, he said, I want to present you with this flag because you will never imagine what that did for me, that you trusted me enough to allow me to help you back down that mountain. And that one experience was both a turning point and a milestone in both of our lives. Him, because I trusted him, and he felt that he was able to lead me, and me, because I had no hesitation. I had no fear that he was going to harm me. And so we hugged, and, we shed a few tears. Actually, I bawled like a baby, but he shed a few tears. But that was one of many experiences that I had that helped to transform my life. To have an organization such as No Barriers see beyond my traumatic experience and to see the potential within me that I no longer saw within myself was huge because it gave me something that I'd lost. It gave me hope. And because of that hope, I was able to overcome my feelings of isolation and loneliness and ambiguity about the direction in which my life was headed. What did Soldiers to Summits do for me? It empowered me. And because I've been empowered, I've dedicated my life to helping others find their way on their journeys to healing. It restored some things within me. I've reclaimed my sense of passion and my sense of purpose for life. And I found a new purpose. And what am I doing with that? I'm learning to lead. As a mentor and a co-leader for Soldiers to Summits, I've led to date 3 female retreats, helping other veterans navigate the rocky roads on their journey to healing. It's helped me to restore and rebuild my confidence. I am a board member of the Veterans Reintegration Center of Jacksonville, and as a board member, I am in the planning phase of spearheading a project that will house homeless female veterans with children. I can't imagine myself doing that prior to this experience because I had gone so low. I've pursued my dream of becoming an entrepreneur. I am the owner of Future Impressions, LLC, which is a professional writing and administrative support mobile service business. And I am committed to continual personal and professional development. And I use the no barriers perspective as my guide for continual growth. And what is that perspective? Aim high, enter the storm, and climb strong. What exactly does that mean? Aim high by setting my intention and setting my goals. Enter the storm. Whereas before, I would avoid my barriers and my obstacles, hoping that they would go away, or I would ignore them like they didn't exist. But entering the storm has allowed me to meet my challenges and my barriers and my obstacles head on, and then climbing strong. Climbing strong means persevering until the end. Having a good support system or rope team, such as the team and the family that I've since established within No Barriers. Having someone with like-minded goals, that has like-minded aspirations. Having someone that you can be transparent with about where you are so that they can help you to complete whatever your goal is or whatever your intention is. And to know that you have a support system, that you can be vulnerable about where you are, and that you realize that you don't have to go it alone. That's what No Barriers has done for me. Because up until that point, I had forgotten about that inner resiliency that we all have within the inside of us. Because of the things that we've endured or that we've had to encounter, we sometimes lose sight of that, and I did. But I've regained that. And so I'm now dedicated to helping others, veterans alike, to regain that. And I hope that by sharing my story, my objective was to inspire, to encourage, but also by sharing my story and my Soldiers to Summits experience with organizations such as AT&T and other individuals. It is my hope that I'm extending the lifeline to others that was extended to me. Because I'm very grateful and I'm thankful that I'm still here. Because I would not be here had Sarah not seen beneath the mask that I had worn. Had she not reached out to let me know that she was concerned. Had she not challenged me to look beyond myself and think beyond myself. I'm grateful to her, and I'm grateful to organizations such as AT&T. Because of organizations such as yourself, I was not one of those statistics, the 22 veterans a day that are ending their lives. And to whom much is given, much is required. So it is my life now to help others overcome their obstacles, to be an example that no matter how low you go, you can rise again. So what is the takeaway? The takeaway is this: if you take away nothing else, acknowledge where you are, not focusing on how you got there, but just acknowledge where you are. Be transparent, and then commit. Commit to doing whatever it takes to make a positive change. Whether you want a promotion, commit to doing the research, commit to studying. Whether you want to lose weight, whether you want to start a business, whatever it is that you want to do, just make the commitment to do what it takes. And then most importantly, serve. Help others along the way as you're on your journey. That is the number one most important thing that you can take away. Being a leader, the essence and the epitome of leadership is being a servant. Because as we serve others, everything that's going on with us is already being taken care of. And so I wanted to leave you with a favorite quote of mine by a famous poet who's now since passed, Maya Angelou. And that is, I've learned that no matter what happens, no matter how bad it seems today, life does go on, and there will be a better tomorrow. I am now living my better tomorrow. And so I dedicate my life to helping others live their better tomorrow, today. Thank you so much for allowing me to share with you a little bit of my journey. Thank you for bearing with me when I had a moment, because that's part of being transparent, and that's one of the most important things that you can be as a leader, is to be transparent, because we make mistakes. So thank you.